Hello and welcome to Coffee Lovers TV. On the show today, we're going to be enjoying a lovely little coffee from AKA Coffee Roasters. Now, AKA is based out of Oakland, California. They actually used to be called Supersonic. So if you're familiar with Supersonic, this is them. They had to do a brand change for legal reasons, but they're still roasting. I think they're still roasting in a similar style, similar goals, that sort of thing, just with a different brand name. I actually kind of like, it's really hard to tell here because this is just a little sample bag, but they kind of kept a lot of the feel of their previous brand, just with a different name. So that's pretty cool. What we have here today is a coffee from Las Tolas Ecuador, which I'm really excited about because I haven't had an Ecuador coffee on the show yet, so this is pretty cool. Also haven't had AKA. I don't think I did anything with Supersonic either, but not on the show anyways. So coffee from Ecuador, it's a Gilda Carascal Pacamara. And they have an interesting process of naming their coffees. I don't think they do this with all of them, but I was perusing what they have on the site. Unfortunately, this coffee is no longer available, at least not right now on the site, but I'm sure everything else they roast is really good. But they have some naming characteristics. They call this one charismatic. And I noticed some of the other ones have similar sort of personality-like descriptions. It's a little subtle thing. It's kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly how to process that in terms of what it means for the coffee. Maybe the charismatic coffee is something that everyone will enjoy. I don't know. And then as for tasting notes on this, guava and nutmeg. And this is a wash process coffee. So actually, I've been thinking about this as I've been getting ready. I brewed this up. I brewed it on the Kalita wave. I've been letting it sit to cool a little bit. It's a very light roasted coffee. It's washed, which means there's a lot of delicate flavors. I'm probably gonna have actually a hard time describing, putting into words what this coffee experience is like. Kind of trying to separate it from others, just because it's got a lot of delicate, interesting flavors. You can tell from guava and nutmeg, if you can imagine that kind of sort of light taste. Nutmeg could come off as heavy, but it's kind of like, think of like a lighter guava and then adding some spice in there. I've certainly had, I remember last year, I think there was a Huehue Tenango, I think it was from Anchorhead, that made me think of guava. And guava is a really interesting, almost apple-like fruit in many respects. I had it a lot while I was in Southeast Asia, but it's got a delicate flavor. Anyways, the aroma on this is interesting. It kind of floats around. There's almost like a grassiness sort of thing. It doesn't exactly come off as grassy, but it kind of hits that way just a little bit. I don't know exactly what it is. There's definitely sweetness. That's one thing about this coffee, and really good coffees, really good quality coffees. One of the hallmarks of high quality specialty coffee is sweetness. The better a coffee is produced, the more care that's put into it, like across the board, no matter where it's from, the more natural sweetness will be communicated through into the brew. So that's something, like if you see me talk about all my favorite coffees, they all have an incredible level of natural sweetness. Yemens, like the naturally processed Yemens that I've been having, all Yemen coffees naturally processed, but the Yemen coffees that I've been having all have this like deep natural sweetness. And this coffee has a really wonderful natural sweetness too, and it comes through in the aroma as well. Just a light sugariness, like a dusting of sugar on the aroma. Okay, that's enough. That's enough smelling of the ground. Smell of the brood. Oh, that's interesting. It's been sitting, so as it's settled, a lot of the delicate aromas kind of really come out and are more apparent. I'm smelling like a deep, rich fruit sugar, like not quite dates, maybe figs. Something richly sweet on the aroma. That's pretty cool. I could get nutmeg too. There's a little bit of spice. Definitely not guava. It's like deeper and richer on the aroma in the guava than guava is. And the first taste is just, it's really delicate. There's sweetness right away, but then there's just a light, sort of light fruitiness that just kind of floats around and then fades away. Don't really get much, just a completely clean aftertaste. It just all kind of fades. It's almost tea-like in many respects. Sweeter, much sweeter, naturally. This is just a brewed coffee. Brewed it up on the Kalita wave, so the Kalita is gonna pull out, I think, a lot more deep, rich sweetness. I think this coffee, I almost want to say I probably should have brewed it on the V60. I'm doing this on the Kalita because that's just kind of what I'm set up for now. And I'm going through a lot of brewing different coffees. So I know I'm going to brew it well on here and it's going to taste excellent. I also like pulling out that deep, richer sweetness, but there's like light delicateness. I get the guava now. There it is. It's as the richness of the sweetness subsides slightly, there's a smooth, delicate fruitiness. You might think of it as melon a little bit. Not as sweet as melon, but there's definitely the guava there. And just a little bit of spice dancing around. I always find these coffees difficult to communicate because often have to use tastes that are not entirely common. Like if you haven't had a lot of guava, that might not mean anything to you. But also it's coffee, so how do you reconcile? I mean, of course, there's natural bitterness from the caffeine, but I wouldn't call this coffee is definitely not bitter. It's very smooth. I think for most people, this wouldn't be a morning coffee. There's kind of a lot going on in here. It's light. It's got a hint of brightness. It's more smooth and yeah, it's more smooth than anything, smooth and sweet with a little bit of fruit and spice dancing around in it. So to me, this is kind of like maybe a lunchtime coffee or something like that. Like gone through a little bit of my day, want to kick back, have a nice cup, something that's really satisfying but a little bit enticing. All right, I could go on and on. This has been AKA Coffees, Las Tolas Ecuador, Gilda Carascal Pacamara. That's a lot of words, and I hope I pronounced them right. Ecuador. I guess I need to find some more coffees from Ecuador, and so I can start doing some more comparisons. I mean, I've had coffee from Ecuador before. It seems to be rare for me to find, and I'm not sure why that is. I might ask around, ask some of the importers what the story is with Ecuador coffees. See if there's anything special. There are always popular regions of coffee. Places like Guatemala, Colombia, Ethiopia, Kenya, Costa Rica, these places that have really amazing quality of specialty coffee. But it grows in a lot of other places too. It's just that importers and I think specialty coffee roasters tend to drift towards more popular things perhaps. All right, so I'll link to AKA below. Like I said, this coffee, as I record this, is currently not available. There are a number of other ones. If you enjoy light roasted coffee, and that's what they do. They're working with a lot of high quality coffees. They're roasting them light. Definitely check them out. Grab some coffee from them. See what you think. You might find a new roaster that you really love. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.